welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so you sent us quite the collection this time.
Yeah, a real mix.
We've got news reports, match analyses, live updates, even press conference transcripts, and some fan chatter from Reddit official channels too.
All focused on that Manchester United postseason friendly against Hong Kong.
Exactly. It's a lot to sift through.
It is. It gives you more than just the scoreline, though. You get the whole atmosphere, the context around it.
Right. So our mission here is to, well, unpack all of that, pull out the key info, maybe some surprising bits, and really get a handle on what happened on and off the pitch.
Understand the game, but also sort of wider story of this tour leg.
Okay, let's dive in. So first, context, really important here. This match is part of that short postseason tour in Asia.
Mm-hmm. And it comes right after what, well, everyone agrees was a difficult season for United. 2024-25 wasn't easy.
No, and the tour itself didn't exactly start brilliantly, did it?
No, it didn't. That first game in Malaysia, the sources confirmed a 1-0 loss to the ASEAN All-Stars.
And some reports even mentioned the team getting booed.
Yeah, apparently so. Not the best start, for morale.
Definitely not. So from Malaysia, with all that heat and humidity, they moved to Hong Kong. First time since 2013, the sources noted.
And the conditions were completely different. That was a key point made.
Right, swapping the heat for what someone called Mancunian weather.
Basically rain and cooler temperatures.
Yeah.
Which actually some sources suggested might be better for them.
How so?
Well, a slicker pitch, easier passing, maybe less draining than that Malaysian humidity, which might have, affected their performance there.
Interesting point. Okay, and the opponents, Hong Kong, coached by Ashley Westwood, ex-United Academy player.
Yeah, and the sources were clear. Don't underestimate them.
They're on a good run.
A really good run. 8 games unbeaten, 7 wins, 1 draw. Westwood's got them playing more possession football, apparently, and they have some naturalized Brazilian players, too.
And there was a tactical note about their formation, a 3-1-3-1-2.
Yes, quite unusual. Sources flagged that it could cause problems packing the midfield, making it hard to play through. Something to watch.
And the visit itself had this extra layer, didn't it, after the messy situation last year?
Absolutely. Coach Amorim even mentioned it directly in his press conference bits we saw. He said he was aware, stressed they'd play who was available, show respect. You could tell they felt that expectation.
So, okay, tough loss behind them, different weather, tricky opponent, that bit of local pressure. What lineup did United put out?
Right. The sources gave us the full starting ergo. Heaton in goal.
Okay.
Then a back 3, Fredrickson, Evans, Kukanki.
Evans anchoring that.
Seems like it. Then Kamason and Amas as wingbacks. Midfield pairing of Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes.
The big lambs in midfield.
Yep. And then up top, Lacey and Garnacho playing behind Hodgland.
So looking at that list, it's a real mix, isn't it?
Definitely. You got Casemiro, Bruno, Jonny Evans, loads of experience. But then you've got academy lads like Jaydan, Kamason, and Shea Lacey getting starting spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the sources picked up on those teenagers starting. A clear sign of giving youth a chance.
It was. Yeah. But also, partly down to who wasn't there.
Right, absences. Maguire, Dalot, Onana were off in India doing fan events.
Yeah, missed the game. Shaw was out too, confirmed. And no Delight or Xerxes involved either. Mount was on the bench to start.
So rotation, youth integration, expected for a friendly, I guess. But the sources kept coming back to this underlying point.
Which was?
That playing these games immediately after a long season is tough.
Yeah.
Physically, mentally. That's crucial context for how they played.
No doubt. It's a big ask for the players.
So let's get into the first half action. Sources said United started, pretty sharpish. High press, looked more awake than in Malaysia.
Yeah, even with the wet pitch. And they did create chances early on.
Hodgland had one disallowed almost straight away.
Right. And then there was a spell where they just kept getting into dangerous spots but couldn't score. Bruno shot wide. Fredrickson headed over when he maybe should have done better.
Shea Lacey got a mention too, didn't he? For some good dribbling, won a free kick.
He did. Looked lively early on. But then there was that sequence, that triple chance. Bruno, Hodgland, Kamason all had pops blocked. Just couldn't break through.
And Hodgland specifically, some of the analysis was quite critical, wasn't it? Saying he looked like he needed a rest, lacked confidence, even basic technique letting him down sometimes.
Yeah, painted a picture of a player really struggling for sharpness and, belief maybe.
And then, wouldn't you know it, against the run of play.
A Hong Kong score.
Yeah.
Juninho, 19th minute.
And the sources pointed fingers a bit, didn't they? The defensive laps first, then Heaton beaten at his near post.
Yeah, an error from the keeper highlighted there, not ideal.
And after that goal, United made those plan changes quite early, around 27 minutes.
That's right. Lacey came off for Kone, and Casemiro was replaced by Fletcher. Pre-planned, it seems.
So halftime arrives. United dominated possession, what was it, 71%?
Yeah, massive amount of the ball. And 15 shots, apparently.
15 shots, but they're trailing 1-0. Tells a story, doesn't it?
Dominance without the finish. Lack of a cutting edge, really.
Okay, so halftime. And just like the previous game, Amorim rings the changes.
Wholesale changes. An entirely new team for the second half.
A total reset. Who came on? Any notable names?
Yeah, the new XI had Bandier in goal. Then you saw Ahmad, Mount, Mainu, Chido Obi, Ugarte, Patrick Dorgu. Lots of different faces.
And did it work? Did they look better?
The sources said, yeah, they came out with more purpose, more energy straight away.
And got the goal quickly, too.
Almost instantly. Chido Obi, the young striker, equalized in the 49th minute. Good finish into the bottom corner after the ref played advantage. Showed good composure.
And he never got another one.
Yeah, had a header wide not long after. Probably should score that one, based on the reports.
Any other chances?
Mount had a shot saved, set up by Ahmad. And Patrick Dorgu at wingback got quite a few mentions. Described as lively. Really key to that improved second half performance.
Okay, so the game itself ends 1-1, right? But let's shift focus a bit, because the sources weren't just about the 90 minutes. There was a lot about the coach's view and, well, player futures.
Oh yeah, tons of that. Amorim's comments were quite revealing.
What did he say?
Well, he was pretty open about the team being tired. Travel, jet lag, tough conditions in Malaysia. He acknowledged all that.
Did he talk about the lineup strategy, mixing youth and experience?
He did. Said it was about using who was fit and available, but also, crucially, about showing respect to the fans who'd paid to watch. He specifically mentioned that sensitivity in Hong Kong, after the Messi no-show last year. Said he knew about it, underlined their commitment.
What about the pitch and the rain? Any complaints?
Not really complaints, more just acknowledging it, but stressing professionalism, concentrate. That's how you avoid injuries in those conditions, basically.
And he talked about the fans, too, especially after a poor season.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting. He basically said, look, it's a hard time for fans, but it's their duty as a global club to face them, connect, give something back. He even mentioned his own time as a fan, supporting his team through bad patches. Said his job, his way of contributing, is just to coach better, improve the team.
He seemed quite reflective about the manager role itself, beyond just coaching.
He did. Mentioned the protocol, the leadership side, handling pressure. Admitted results make life easier, obviously, but said his main focus, and the team's, has to be on navigating that pressure, the narratives after losses, just by focusing on the football itself, learning to handle it all.
Seems quite measured, but while he's talking measure, the sources were absolutely
buzzing, yeah. Player futures were a huge topic.
Garnacho especially. Lots of noise around him.
Yeah, Amorim kind of played it down, said he's a United player, so of course he's on tour. But Amad Diallo was quoted hoping he'd stay.
And the fan media reaction?
Speculation central. Was it a punishment for something? Was this his last game? You know how it gets.
We do. And then there was Bruno Fernandes. That seemed even bigger.
Oh yeah. That Saudi offer from Al Hilal, reported as lucrative, around 80 million potentially.
Wow. And he was a big draw for the Hong Kong fans, wasn't he? And he started the game.
Which just poured fuel on the fire. Media, fans, everyone asking, is this his last match in a United shirt? Huge talking point.
Any other player mentions? Ahmad.
Briefly, yeah. Mentioned he's close to Garnacho, hopes he stays. There was also a quick note in some sources about a middle finger video controversy involving him, though not much detail provided on that specific point.
And others. Hosland.
Casemiro.
More speculation. Hosland loan, sale. What happens next? Casemiro less likely to leave, maybe. Sources suggested the need for his experience, despite, his form maybe dipping.
It's a whirlwind, isn't it? Ahmad did give a player's view on the tour itself, though.
He did. He said basically they were there to give joy to the fans, play with focus despite the difficult context and end-of-season fatigue. A straightforward player perspective.
So zooming out again, this whole tour experience, the sources paint a picture of it being pretty intense.
Absolutely. Described as jam-packed, crazy. It's not just the football. It's fan events, sponsor stuff. Part of the deal for a massive global club.
And what about the young players? How did they see it?
Their perspective was really positive, actually. You could feel the excitement in the quotes. Like it being a dream come true,
Yeah.
seeing new places, realizing just how huge the fan base is worldwide. We talked about learning from the senior pros, building relationships, and crucially, seeing it as a massive chance to impress.
Impress for future chances? Like the main preseason tour?
Exactly. Show the coaches what they can do. It sounded like an amazing opportunity for them.
And the media attention around the whole thing.
Significant, as you'd expect. Both positive and negative angles noted in the sources the transfer talk dominated, but also reflections on that tough season just gone.
And just to circle back one last time, that contrast between the games, Malaysia versus Hong Kong.
Yeah, the sources really hammered that home. Hong Kong's cooler, wetter weather, that slick passing surface. It was just seen as a much better environment for playing decent football compared to the draining heat in Malaysia.
Which probably explains the better performance, or at least the potential for it. Funny how rainy weather felt more like home ground.
Paradoxical, isn't it?
So, okay, let's try and wrap this up. Pulling all these threads together from the sources, this friendly, which might look minor on paper, actually gave us quite a lot.
It really did. You had the goals, obviously, but also those tactical points like Hong Kong's formation. You had individual stories, the youngsters stepping up, the big stars dealing with all that noise.
And it gave us a real window into what these postseason tours actually are for a club like United.
Yeah, that constant balancing act. Performing on the pitch, fulfilling the commercial side, managing player workload after a draining season, and doing it all while the transfer rumor mill is going into overdrive.
It highlights this tension, doesn't it, for everyone involved?
Which maybe leads us to a final thought, something these sources make you consider.
Go on.
Well, you see how vital these tours are commercially for connecting globally. But at the same time, they put the players under this intense spotlight right when they're probably exhausted, and they amplify all the transfer speculation massively. So how do clubs, players, and even you, the fans, navigate that? This strange mix of looking forward to next season while being surrounded by so much uncertainty about who's staying, who's going right now. It's a tricky space to be in, isn't it?